right, so we're going to welcome up our next presenter. We'll give a little bit of time as we're shuffling around here. So if you've been following the papers and the news recently, this area, Virginia Beach, has what is effectively like our first angel fund called 757 Angel Fund. And we have today with us the Executive Director of 757 Angels, Monique Adams, and she's here to tell you all about how they want to help support entrepreneurs in this area. So please welcome Monique. Thank
you. Wow, this is amazing. Thank you all for being here today, and hats off to the founders of this great organization, because it's awesome to have so many of you in the room today. My name is Monique Adams. I'm the Executive Director of 757 Angels, and I'm honored to be presenting here at this inaugural event. A little bit about my background. I have a real estate finance background from Los Angeles originally. I moved to New York, corporate finance, and then found myself here in Norfolk, courtesy of my sweet husband. It's been great. I've been here for over 20 years, and I'm happy to be a part of this community. Paul Hirschbiel, who's here with me today, approached me last year and asked if I would be interested to help form an angel group in Hampton Roads. And originally I was struck by the biblical references and had to get past the biblical reference and learn about the financial one. Actually, angels, when they talk about angel groups, it's a historical reference to wealthy investors that saved Broadway shows from going dark in the 1920s. So once I got through that historical clarification, I was very excited to jump on board and embark on the journey of what is now 757 Angels. So my agenda here today with you is kind of to discuss with you the who, what, whens, wheres, hows of 757 Angels in no particular order. In order to do that, I just kind of want to give you a bird's eye view briefly of what's going on nationally. Angel groups have had explosive growth over the last years. In fact, they've more than tripled since 1999. There are approximately 400 angel groups in the United States, and they supply financing of about $25 billion. So why have angel groups been so successful? States, cities, regions, investors have all jumped on board because they've identified entrepreneurs as a key driver of job creation. And in fact, over the last 25 years, and again, these statistics are also provided by the Kauffman Foundation, but over the last 25 years, all net job growth has been provided by startup companies that are less than 5 years old. So what are the challenges faced by entrepreneurs today? I attended a recent State of the Startup Community by Zach Miller, and he talked about some of the challenges that are faced by entrepreneurs in our area. The two being expensive real estate and the lack of capital to grow their companies. And this graphic actually shows that. Angel groups are here to bridge the gap, the capital gap, in between friends and family rounds and venture capital rounds. That is shown in this range from $250 to approximately $1.5–3 million on the high end. So what options do you have as an entrepreneur here in Hampton Roads? There's online sources, there's crowdsourcing, there's AngelList. We have individual angels, and also now we have an angel group. In Hampton Roads, there have been several individual generous angels that have been operating independently. However, in recent months, starting February 1st, we launched this first organized angels group, 757 Angels, and I want to tell you more about that. We are 76 members strong. So since February 1st, we've been overwhelmed by the support of the investor community. We draw from a cross-section of the region. And our members and / investors are all accredited. So they're all high net worth individuals, and that is an SEC regulation. So what is 757 Angels? We are, let me go back. My slides are not perfectly in order. So what is 757 Angels? We're a nonprofit organization, and we are a connection service, connecting entrepreneurs to investors. In turn, we're looking to grow and diversify the community, so there's a civic overlay as well. So what are the benefits to our members? Why do people join our organization? Members join for a place at the table. There's a unique investment opportunity presented to them. Our members invest as individuals. They make independent investment decisions. We do not invest as a fund, unlike other groups. Funds charge carries, and carries are expensive, so we have moved away from that model. Our investors are excited about participating in the grassroots initiative to catalyze our economy. 757 Angels provides streamlined and efficient processes. So rather than individuals running after individual deals, we can all collaborate, share responsibilities, share information. We have 3 membership meetings a year, more about that later. And we also are part of the Angel Capital Association, which is the leading professional organization, which gives us a tremendous resource of best practices, documents, webinars, seminars, so on and so forth. So what does that mean to entrepreneurs in the area? We've established some key investment criteria for entrepreneurs. Primarily, our entrepreneurs need to be located in or planning to relocate to Hampton Roads. This is a regional organization for the entrepreneurial community of Hampton Roads. We want our entrepreneurs to derive the majority of their revenues outside of Hampton Roads. So this isn't an organization, or we are not looking for companies that are going to set up John's Pizza Shop that's going to put Mary's Pizza Shop out of business. We're really looking for entrepreneurs that are looking to revitalize and catalyze the Hampton Roads economy. We're looking for resourceful management teams that are balanced, flexible, and coachable. We are definitely looking for solutions to compelling problems with large markets and competitive advantages. Some market validation is definitely appreciated. And we are not necessarily looking for sales validation. We are interested and welcome applications from pre-revenue companies as well as early stage companies. We have no restrictions on industry, and we are definitely interested and hope you have a keen understanding of what potential exits are at play. So what is our process? How do we look to do this? This is a lot of arrows and a big graphic, but basically what I want to point out to you is we have 3 cycles a year. Each of these columns of arrows represent a cycle for Hampton Roads. They start with an application deadline, which is the first, and they culminate with a membership meeting. The first 3 set of arrows are the 3 cycles in 2015, and the last 3 are the cycles in 2016. How does this work? So what we would do is we ask for all prospective entrepreneurs to apply on our online application system. We have an entry point through our website, 757angelsgroup.com. All of our process and all of these graphics can be found at that website. If you go through Entrepreneurs Apply Now, you'll be able to access Gust, which is our online application platform, and it's also an investor deal monitoring platform. So it's a collaborative online platform connecting entrepreneurs with our investors. So once again, you apply at the top where business model is a funnel. And then we go through a pre-screening stage. So all applications are pulled and reviewed by the executive director, and they're screened, pre-screened for key investment criteria as I described to you before. Recommendations are made to our board. We have a very active board that meets 2 times per cycle. The first meeting at the end of pre-screening, when we discuss the recommendations of the executive director, as well as the other applications. All of them are discussed, and approximately 5 are selected to advance to the screening stage of our process. During screening, all 5 companies receive a mentor / a vetting team that starts the due diligence process. This could be 1 or 2 people, and help to prepare them for a presentation that will occur at the end of the screening process 3 weeks later. At the end of this screening process, those 5 companies come back and present at a second board meeting with a 10-minute pitch, followed by a 10-minute Q&A session. At the end of that, the board deliberates on those 5 opportunities and selects 2 or 3 that are most fully developed to present to our membership. The membership meeting takes place, pitches, it's a 15-minute pitch, which is quite longer than the 6-minute pitch here, which apparently is quite a luxury. So you get 15 minutes to pitch the membership. There's a 10-minute Q&A session, and the group disbands. Following that, there's a post-presentation process in place where the 757 Angels group steers investors to entrepreneurs. We do not provide them with due diligence. Again, our individual investors do their own due diligence, and they make their own investment decisions. So what are the keys to success in this process? Understanding the terms. There's a lot of unique terminology as a part of startups. Surround yourself with very smart advisors, entrepreneurs, legal people, industry experts. Stay flexible on your terms as you're creating your term sheet, especially valuation. Understand the common practices. This is something that we're learning as we go to. We're a new group in Hampton Roads, and so we're learning what our investors' appetite is in Hampton Roads. And I would encourage you to keep your ear to the ground to learn that too as you construct your presentations to our group. Of course, be passionate and be prepared. Practicing your pitch several times in forums like this, and there's many other forums available in our area, is really, really fantastic so that you can be prepared to present to our investors. Do I have much more time?
We probably need to get into Q&A.
Okay, so to get to the most important thing, this is the link to apply now to our GUS platform. Feel free to call me or contact me. I have business cards up in front. Go to our website, 757angelsgroup.com, and fill out that application, and we'd be happy to review it. Application deadline for our second cycle is May 13th.
Okay, great. I know we have a bunch of questions. So, in the front row, and then go back to see.
So if I fill out the application and goes through and it didn't go past pre-screening, would you guys notify us that it didn't go through?
Absolutely.
And can we
Yes.
reapply?
Yes, great question.
Okay.
So your first question is, will you get notified? Yes, you'll be notified, and ideally we would provide you with some feedback. So during pre-screening, I not only review the applications, but I'll be reaching out to entrepreneurs and trying to get to know you. You don't make it past pre-screening, we ideally would look to provide you with feedback. We would notify you. Our decisions are defer, advance, decline. You would have the ability to apply up to 3 times. So if you are deferred, you can come back and apply 2 more times.
Question here and then here.
Excellent. Two questions. First one, what's your relationship or partnership with Reinvent Hampton Roads? And the second question is, I saw 7 industries. Are you looking for companies that are B2C, B2B, B2G? Is there any preference for the type of companies you're looking for?
I'll answer the latter, and then I'm going to let Paul answer the Reinvent Hampton Roads question since he was part of that initiative. To answer, we are not industry specific. We do have a preference for scalable, high growth companies, but there is no industry specific. On that one slide where I showed the 7 industries, those were the 7 industries that were representative in the first cycle. So there is no restriction for industry. In terms of Reinvent Hampton Roads.
Paul Birchfield, I'm a member of the board of Hampton Roads Community Foundation, and Reinvent Hampton Roads has come out of the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. In fact, we have Donna Morris here from the foundation as well. As the first stage in that, we set up 4 study groups. One to look at workforce development, one to look at clusters, one to look at leadership, and one to look at entrepreneurs and how to build a stronger, more supportive environment for entrepreneurs. This is one of 3 level-A initiatives that came out of that study group that operated during 2014. There are 2 other initiatives. This is probably the furthest along, but we also have something that is being branded and will be launched in June called Start Wheel, which will be a central online resource for entrepreneurs to go to if they want to find out where to take courses, mentors, coordinated calendar region-wide of all the events, every Wednesday meeting here. All that's going to be on, so a centralized resource. And then the third area is kind of coordinating a lot and building more of the incubators and accelerators around the community. So it's all part of Reinvent Hampton Roads. We're kind of one section of it over here.
Well, real quick before we get to this next question, so we're about 7 minutes to 10 o'clock. If you do have a hard stop and need to be feet out of here, then please just feel free to exit quietly. A couple things about the after events. We like to steer people toward Town Center. There's a great Starbucks down the road here. There's a daily grind at Town Center. A lot of people probably want to talk and ask questions after this event. But if you do have to leave at 10 o'clock, we're probably going to go 5 to 10 minutes over so that we can get all the questions in.
Yeah, you keyed on something. For example, thinking about me starting an entrepreneur business here in Hampton Roads and starting from scratch. And you mentioned something I think that's very key. So what I'm doing is a plethora of research. What concerns me, besides starting a business here, what concerns me is starting the right business that's good for, for Hampton Roads, for example, and so that's where my research. I don't want to start a business and there's 60,000 other type of business. Is that the right way to start before I start looking at 757 Angel to help guide me into the right directions and the right step?
Yeah.
I have 31 years in aviation. I retired Navy, and so I have a lot of experience in unmanned vehicles and aviation in general. So I'm kind of looking at that because I have a lot of background in it. So is that the right step to really look at what Hampton Roads needs to be successful in the business?
I think definitely. I think you are on the right track. I also think that there's tremendous resources in the area in terms of incubators that can provide you with assistance. You may have already pursued that, but there's Hatch. Where are you located?
I'm located actually in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
Well, my home is in Norfolk, Virginia, yeah. And,
So, yeah, we have representatives here from incubators that can help you along those lines in steering you in the right direction and actually helping you get the information you need and do the research you need to form your business plan.
Because like you said, I want to bring business in. In aviation, you can do that by doing so many other things by, like you said, not having just a pizzeria. You're more concerned about bringing money into Hampton Roads.
Right.
Is that a true statement?
Yes, absolutely. We're looking to grow the economy of the region, not the economy of any particular state. So I have no bias against pizzerias. I love pizza. That was just an example of really a Virginia Beach pizzeria putting out a Norfolk pizzeria really doesn't help Hampton Roads at all. That's a zero gain. And so what we're looking to do is grow the Hampton Roads economy, bringing revenues in from outside.
And I would say that you want to be prepared when you come to 757 Angels, you want to have that figured out.
Yes, sir, and I want to have a plan that is not just for 757, most important is have a good plan. Will this work for me to make my business be successful and grow from, let's say, 1 to 5 years, 5 years to 10 years?
Definitely.
Those are the things that I'm looking at before I come to you, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to waste your time.
Right.
No,
That's
I
where-
appreciate
That's
that.
why
That's
this
why we're
community
here.
exists. That's why we want you to come here. We want you to go visit
So am
Hatch.
I here at
Tech-
the right place to listen to all?
You got it.
Can
Yep.
I offer something to you as well?
Yes.
Can we talk afterwards? Because a colleague and I have started Hampton Roads Unmanned Systems Industry Roundtable. We've got about 15 copies doing unmanned systems here so far.
I'll
So
see you after the meeting.
if there's any other.
There's a great
people
community for you to
involved in
connect
unmanned
to in that
systems,
business, and there's probably some people who want to talk to you about that. So we have this gentleman here who has a question.
This
Here.
gentleman actually kind of made me think about some clarification. So he sounds like he's in the concept phase right now. Everything's on paper or up in his
Uh-huh.
mind.
Uh-huh.
What is 757? Are they looking for something like this business right here that is like already like got some infrastructure and ready to go, but we need capital to make the next leap? Like what are your investors looking for in that regard?
So we are a startup ourselves, and we are learning what our investors are looking for. That's the first thing.
So
No,
honest,
I mean,
fair
that's
answer.
it, that's the honest truth. So I don't want to make, we can't make any guarantees because it's, again, each individual investor makes their own decision. But to speak for the group, we are interested in probably companies that are a little further along. Again, pre-revenue is not a problem for us, startup, but we want to see some sort of validation. So when you talk about validation, a lot of people talk about sales. That is not always the type of validation we're looking for. It may be, if you're working on R&D, it may be some sort of product validation. Perhaps it's going to be a competitive validation. It could come in all different steps. So really, there is no stage of business. If you're in the very initial stages, I would offer that you should probably go to an incubator, learn more about the area, and once you have a business plan in place, that would be a good time to start thinking about 757 Angels.
One here, and then Aaron, and then back of the room, I think.
Is this limited to for-profit, or can it be for not-for-profit and for-profit?
Good question. So we have not seen any not-for-profit. Generally, I think our investors, especially at this initial time, are looking for for-profit businesses, high-growth for-profit businesses. But that's not to say that they wouldn't entertain something down the road.
Aaron?
Hi, these gentlemen stirred up a question in my mind because I actually am very far deep into my business. No longer concept. I have working models, relationships with business shop owners and everything. So I was wondering how that would go about if you already have connections, consignment, shops willing to sell and you're just ready to push a button.
How it would work with 757
Yes,
Angels?
is that something that would be...
Definitely.
That's
Apply.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Do you have a question in the back?
I guess mine's similar. I've been in business over 12 years, and I'm trying to get out of being the tech, into being the owner and growing the business to do more income coming in. But I'm looking for, everybody says that's what I need to do, but of course, when you've been in tech so long, now you're going to become the manager and sales and marketing person, so that I can add more technicians to help more people, so on and so forth. So would it still be something to consider to use to look for that capital? Because I know initially I didn't have the funds to fund a salesperson or necessarily to pick up 2 or 3 more techs for the growth that I'm anticipating.
Yeah, so I definitely think that that's what we're here for, as a capital source. I would encourage you in your situation, as you have sales challenges, that in your materials you really present sales strategies and recruiting strategies and vertical lines and things of that nature. So when you approach the different members, that you could speak to that.
All right, Kevin, do we have any questions from the balcony?
Hey, guys.
Just a quick question. Since you guys are uniquely set up as a nonprofit and understand that structure of you're organizing this effort to present to individual investors to make their own decisions, is the nonprofit itself funded by the members,
Yes.
the individual members? And if so, once it's funded in the nonprofit, I think, have you guys considered giving any grants to other potential nonprofits in which investors aren't seeking equity stake in, but actually you can now start affecting the economy and the startup community here through nonprofit grants from a nonprofit that's already funded by the individual members?
Great question.
Yeah.
We actually just started talking about it, so it's very timely. The first question is, yes, we are a nonprofit, and yes, we are funded by membership dues. Okay. The second part of your question is grants. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to end up on that, but we have started talking about what the need is in the community and the different stages of companies, where they're at, very conceptual, and then all the way through to an early stage company, and what we can do for those conceptual companies. We are looking at different sort of curriculums and different programs, but we're really in the beginning stages of trying to develop how we're going to participate in that, but we have recognized that as a need.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Kyle, and then gentleman back there and there.
How do you pair your mentors after the first pre-screening process?
How do we what?
Pair your mentors.
Pair? Industry expertise, interest in the space, former entrepreneurs with success or failure in the space. We look for mentors. So far, we've only gone through one cycle. So our mentors we drew from our board, and they tended to match up pretty well. However, we would look to outside the group for advice and expertise as well.
Yes, sir. Is there any cost to apply?
Yes, great question. There's a $100 application fee. We are not looking to pick the pockets of the entrepreneurs. We are definitely in line with the entrepreneurial spirit and the ethos of entrepreneurism, but we are a very lean organization ourselves, and we have to separate the curious from the serious, and that therefore we have to be.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you comment on the quality of the applications that you received? Were they ready? Were you surprised by what you got?
We got 15 applications in the first cycle. I thought they were very well done. I think in the first round we had some very, very hard choices. There were a lot of great companies. Again, sometimes picking one over the other is just a sense. It's really hard. You hear more stories about that in the media than anything else, is someone passing on something and then the next day it's the next best thing. It depends on who's in the room and what their knowledge of the space is. Again, the vetting teams that are assigned talk about the companies and their due diligence on the companies is but the companies themselves were all very, provided very good quality applications, and we picked the ones that we just thought were the most fully formed.
Yes, ma'am.
So far you got 15 applications, and how many have you picked, and what type of company have you picked, and how far have they gotten?
We have 15 applications in the first cycle. We are now getting ready to embark on the second cycle, so the first cycle is beyond us. From that, we picked 5, and then we picked 2. The industries represented there were 7 primary industries: instrumentation, technology, medical, I'm trying to think of some of the others, insurance. From that, I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question? How far have they gotten? So again, we had 2 present at the membership meeting, and of those 2, one had a glitch, and so we had to stop the process, and we'll reintroduce them later. The other one is working on finalizing commitments right now.
Yes, sir.
Are they, in the application process for the first iteration of this, were there any common themes that you wish you had seen like improvements in? Like what was lacking from the people that applied?
Great question. I think that, I'm actually going to take that on our group ourselves. I thought that the applications were very well done. I think that since we're a startup ourselves, we talked about providing our entrepreneurs with a little more guidance in terms of things that they should hit on. So core competencies, things like sales, the things that we want to hear about in sales, management, and we are still working on those. We're looking at about 5 to 6, and we'll be providing those to people as we go through.
Okay, well, great. I think those are some great questions. I'm sure you guys have a lot more. Let's thank them. A couple of housekeeping and
Folks, thank you very much for such a great turnout. We're very enthusiastic about the future for 1 Million Cups. Are there any questions about 1 Million Cups?
Or
We
from
have
757.
I forgot again.
Yeah, 757,
What
what do
can
you
we
do?
do for you?
Got it.
Thank you, Steve. What can this community do for 757 Angels? What?
I'm sorry. I didn't-
Yeah, we were supposed to ask you that.
What can
can this community do for 757 Angels?
apply?
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so. In the last couple of minutes, are there any questions that you have for us for the 1 Million Cups program?
How do we go about getting on the list for presentations?
Great question. You go to 1millioncups.com/Virginia Beach, and there's a button that says apply to present.
Great.
And what happens is we get those applications, we review them as a team, we have comments, we might reach out to you for some questions, and then approve or reject and move you into scheduling. So there's a real great hand-holding process that Calvin
There's some
provides
flyers
for us.
up here too that kind of explains the process. So
Yeah.
please grab one on the way out if you're interested in presenting.
How long did it take the waiting, because I applied like 2 weeks ago, but I haven't heard from you guys at all?
You may have applied, so we were having some startup glitches. You probably applied on our old site, and so we have that data and we got to move it over. What's the name of your company?
Brain Balance, Virginia Beach?
I don't recall.
Reapply.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah. Please put that back in because I don't recall seeing that. And
Brain
there was at least like email 1 Million Cups Virginia Beach at gmail.com. Is that right? Yeah. To figure out what happened. 'Cause-
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They switched over from an old website to a new website, and we have all the data, and I'll go double check, but
Yeah,
something might have fallen
where's the
through.
website? I mean, because I Google it, Virginia Beach.
1millioncups.com with the number 1/Virginia Beach. Other questions for us?
Who's going to tell a colleague or a friend about this forum?
Already did your hashtag.
Yeah!
Thank you.
We're going to be here every Wednesday. Next week we have 2 great companies lined up, Nataris and Quiver. Nataris, I said, is industrial sensors, it's situational awareness, Internet of Things, and big data. And Quiver is basically trying to say, like, they want to be a digital replacement to cash. I'm really excited about both of those companies. And so with that,
We've also talked to the dean, and he's got larger space for us. So.
You didn't see Ray's face up on there because he needs to go fill out his profile. This is Ray White, also from City of Virginia Beach, and he's been really instrumental. And we got up at 7:30 in the morning and drove up to Richmond to check out 1 Million Cups. He's kind of been the man behind the scenes. We need to get his name up on that sheet.
Economic development, okay? Now you know where he is.
Economic development, somebody you want to know. All right, great. Well, thanks very much for coming.
And there's coffee left in here.
Coffee left. Make your way out.